So the domestic stage mountain bike racing season here in South Africa is well underway. We've come through the Tankwa Trek, Cape Epic, Joburg to Sea, and now most recently the Cup Sani2c. And I must say, it is so good to see a new face on the top step of the podium. It's a privilege to have Matt Beers with us for this episode of All Ride.
What's up?
Matt Beers has joined us for the All Ride show. Matt, you have got to be stoked with that performance this year. It's been a long time coming, I would almost say, and this year it came together.
Yeah, I mean it has been a long time coming, and obviously getting second last year and getting so close to victory it makes you that little bit more hungry. And yeah, we put in some hard work, and Epic didn't go as to plan, so there was a lot of frustration and motivation coming into Sani to prove that what I am capable of, because I know what I've been doing. So yeah, it's awesome to just get the feeling, and it's also such a nice race as well. The whole atmosphere, I think, almost makes it easier to win. I mean, we tent like you don't need to be a prima donna and go get guest houses and all that stuff. I mean, so it's really cool.
Tell us a little bit about Epic and kind of what happened there, because you guys look to be in absolutely fantastic form leading in. What happened?
Yeah, we basically, the night before the prologue, I woke up just cold shivers, vomiting from 1 a.m. till 9 the next morning, and then yeah, we had to try race. So I knew we were going to be on the back foot. And obviously with the prologue being quite short, your body doesn't tap into much reserves, you're just using sugar. So, and then after the first and second stage, you need food, and I wasn't able to eat anything, and it just went downhill. And then, yeah, once the virus or whatever got out my system, then we started to tick away quite nicely. But yeah, that's life, that's racing.
So how long after the race did it take until you found out that you were pregnant?
It was a rough one, but we're handling it, as you can see.
Jokes aside, so typically for a mountain biker, you're on the taller side. Some could argue that you may be on the heavier side. Kind of, what is your background and how did you end up getting into it? Because what's it been, like 5 years now, 6 years on the bike?
Yeah, I think 5 or 4. I'm not actually too sure, but yeah, I mean, being heavier, it definitely is. Everyone thinks I don't climb very well, but I think I climb pretty well, probably better than most of the guys here in SA. I think it's more of maybe a mindset thing, to be honest. Obviously, if you've got the weight, you need to push the watts, so if you can push the watts, then that's fine.
To make it sound easy.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what you need to do.
Do you and Mike Pothimus hang out a lot?
Yeah, we do. We actually do train. We both say we're born climbers.
So what kept you busy before mountain biking? How did you get into it?
Yeah, I used to race motocross. That was my background. I did that for about, I think it was 7 years. I raced here in South Africa for a few teams, actually with my coach, who I still use now. And then yeah, I decided to go over the pond to the US and race there. Got a lot of sponsors and met with a lot of awesome people. I went to the Millsaps training facility.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a bit daunting at like 17. Parents drop you there and you're like, okay, this is real now. Like, you don't know anyone. You got to get to like middle of nowhere. You're in the middle of nowhere, Cairo, Georgia, just on a motocross, just living life. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it was a great time there. And then basically, after I've had a lot of injuries throughout my career, breaking my back, legs, all types of things. So then I broke my foot really badly, had like 3 surgeries to reconstruct it, and it took about 8 months for me to walk again. And I was just like, I had to use the cycling as rehab. That was the only thing I could do. And yeah, and pretty much from there we figured out that I was pretty good at it. I went back to the US, and then we did a whole bunch of tests. We were with Red Bull there, and then we had a lot of testing facilities. And then they were like, "Bro, maybe you should take a mountain bike." I was like, there is no ways I am wearing lycra and shaving my legs. And now look at me.
So coming from a motocross background, often MX and enduro boys on motorbikes transition well more into kind of the enduro and gravity space on mountain biking. Why did you decide to go marathon as opposed to the other forms?
Yeah, I mean, it was more the injury problem. I mean, you go to gravity and you're pretty much guaranteed to probably break something again. And also it was more my fitness that they were impressed with. Like on the bike when we were training, obviously we did cycling as training. So we figured that I had a really big engine. Obviously my lungs are also like abnormally large and things like that. So, and I always used to smash all the other guys on the bike, and everyone was like, "How?" And I'm like, "I don't know, dude. I just pedal. I don't really know." So that's why we kind of thought maybe put a more endurance aspect.
Fair enough. Now talk us through your Sani race. I mean, there from the get-go, you guys looked like the intention was obviously very clear, but you weren't kind of leaving anything to chance. It was almost as though it was from the get-go you wanted to put guys in the hurt box. And do you race that way when you guys are planning a race strategy? Do you more kind of plan according to what your strengths are and race your own race, or do you have a more of a reactive plan?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. I mean, we have a plan as such. Like on Sani, where we wanted to go, I wanted to stretch the legs and see what the other guys had, and then we saw the gap, and I looked back to Nico. I was like, well, we may as well go. I mean, it'll be hard for them to catch us, and yeah, that's how racing is. You can plan it to a certain extent, but you have to go off what you feel and what's happening. I mean, in the bunch, and you also have to see, because you get all the other guys who are not as fast, who move their way up, then they leave a split, and then the big guys are maybe 2 bikes behind, and then they have to close their gap, and they can't. So you just have to be very aware of where you are in the bunch, and that's why I sat right in the front. A little bit of wind is not going to destroy my hopes of winning. So yeah, you just got to be a bit conscious of where you are and what's happening.
So kind of in line with that, when you guys you agree that you need to go, what are you working towards? Is it a conversation beforehand where you're like, okay, when I give you the signal, we're going to go, does go mean we're going for 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 8 minutes? Like what is your time frame, or is it just a case of keeping the power on until something happens?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think Nico and I exchanged one word during the whole race. Like
he's not a big talker.
Naturally. No, naturally he's not.
I've literally seen him smile twice in my whole life.
Oh, he's quite scary. But yeah, we just ride, and when I go, he follows my wheel, and then he will say to me maybe like, "Matt, slow up," or "tempo," or just like 1 or 2 words, and then I know from that, okay, cool, we must just keep a steady pace but hard, so the other guys can't get to us, but we're gonna hurt them. And then yeah, it's just a lot of you just riding, looking at each other, seeing. I mean, if you can see he's not holding the wheel, then you slow down a little bit, or if he can see I'm hurting on a climb, then you must slow down. So it's a lot of more seeing what the rider looks like on the bike than actually communicating. But some people are different. So.
Yeah. So kind of being 4 years into the game, there's a lot of guys out there that I think you already acknowledge are more experienced than you. Must have been quite cool riding with someone like Nico. I mean, you've raced with some big names beforehand, but I'd say in terms of level-headed maturity and race strategy, Ollie Munich, Nico, 2 experienced guys, do you think that helped out a bit on the Sani?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Nico's experience is beyond anyone I think you can race with in SA. And with Eric as well, he's helped me a lot, and Ollie. So I've been really privileged to race with those guys and learn a lot from them. Yeah, like I've said, if Nico left me alone, I would probably just blow and lay somewhere in the sugar cane, because I don't know when to stop. I'm like a horse. You just go until you get too tired, and then at least Nico can pull the reins up and be like, whoa, come back here.
Yeah, man, I can imagine. But also talking to that now, I mean, teams are absolutely crucial here in South Africa. I mean, I think it's a common thread across mostly all non-mainstream sports where government funding is almost non-existent. It makes being part of a team a crucial success factor in your overall plan as an athlete, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have to rely on these guys who are passionate on our sport, and like they are spending big money towards us, and I mean, without them we can't do what we do. So you have to be, I'm very grateful for it, and it's rad that we have people in South Africa that are willing to do this for us. That's why we need to be good ambassadors for our sport and not be these prima donnas, and give time to people, and that's how I look at it.
In terms of the future of the sport in South Africa, you're seeing some interesting things happening in the fact that mountain biking in particular almost seems to be maturing, where 5 years ago if you wanted to ride trail you'd have to do an event. Nowadays there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of amazing trail all over the country, and with that you're starting to see like downhill kind of picking up a little bit more. Enduro is like a really popular space right now. Marathon maybe tapering off a little bit. Cross country has always kind of been pottering along. But if you had to look at it in terms of within your circle of professional athletes, where do you think the sport's going?
I think it's definitely on a upward trajectory, very slow, but I think the big thing is that more people are riding bikes. Like, maybe they're not racing yet, but there is a lot of people just enjoying riding bikes, like gravel bikes. I mean, commuting to work, downhill, enduro, just trail, anything. Like, to me that's more important, because we might not see it now in the moment, but maybe 10 years from now it will progress into something a lot bigger. Just the fact of more people enjoying just the solitude of it, being out in the mountains.
Right. So a lot of people think that being a professional athlete's kind of high fives and hashtags all the time, and it's not stressful and not that much sacrifice is made, but I think that's generally the view of people that have never been in that position before, of being an athlete that's really pushed themselves. Like, how do you find being a pro athlete, and what are the main sacrifices you find yourself having to make and compromises?
I mean, it's obviously it's an amazing opportunity to have, but it's a lot of hard work. I mean, we training hard every day. There's a lot of like massage rehab that you have to do to keep the body going. Obviously diet, you can't just go eat at any restaurant you want, for instance.
So no KFC?
No, definitely not.
Not even a double crunch on a Wednesday?
No. Actually, funny enough, the only thing I could eat before the prologue was a little Macca's burger, but that was different.
Don't do that at home, kids.
No, don't do that. And just being with your mates, maybe having a drink or two or something. You can't do that, and also you're always having to think like a day or two in advance. So if I want to go for a hike, for instance, then I know that my legs are going to be toasted for 2 days, so then I can't do intervals. So, or if I want to go swim in our lovely cold ocean, you're probably going to get sick. So there's a lot of things, and going to bed early, resting is obviously a huge thing. And then there's a lot of other responsibilities also that come with it, keeping the sponsors happy and things like that.
So I mean, with that in mind, it's nowadays it's so much more than just being fast on a bike. You can't just be fast on a bike.
No, definitely not. I mean, you need to have people you need to be an approachable guy and have fun with it, and like there's too much stigma around us that we stuck up grumpy people. That needs to change quite a bit. At the end of the day, we just love riding our bikes. We're not always wanting to go fast and race. We also just want to chill and hang out and ride.
So we're going to see Matt jumping onto one of the new stump jumpers and coming and sending an enduro in the near future, just to show the boys that you're there, you got what it takes.
I would love to. Can you get my hands on one? I will, for sure.
Yeah, man, for sure. And then kind of just talking about mountain biking in general, kind of there's a South African idea I find, and this might be a misconception, although I've been around the sport for a long time now, only actively riding for about 3.5 years, but being involved in other roles for over a decade, that to be able to get out there and ride and enjoy the sport, you have to have the best of the best. You have to have the S-Works, you have to have the new Scott, you have to have, you know, I mean, in your mindset, or in your opinion, what do you feel more general riders need to know, and how can they have more fun on their bikes? Because that's my honest impression, is that if you're out there and you're having fun on a bike because the bike is suited to you and what your needs are, you're going to be in the sport for a longer period of time. Like, what is your take and advice to people to kind of get out of that mindset of, well, geez, Euroslav Kulovi's got that, so I need to have that too?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big one for me that breaks me about everyone. I mean, obviously I know how the industry works and that's how everyone makes money, blah blah blah, but yeah, to me, just you must enjoy riding your bike. It really does not matter. Like, I've won on like bottom of the range components, like, because maybe I couldn't get the top of the range. It doesn't matter. It still works perfectly fine, and you're gonna, maybe 200 grams. I mean, it's, yeah, Eric always said to me, I remember we were doing a thing and he was like, people were asking about what drive chain, 2x or 1x and all that, and he was like, just go ride your bike. Like, it doesn't matter, just enjoy it. Like, and yeah, he's completely right. So yeah, I definitely think that's the thing, just enjoy it, and if it makes you happy, buy some expensive things, but at the end of the day, don't over analyze it.
So not only can this man smash a trail on a cross country or a marathon bike and win those races for that matter, he's just sent pretty much the entire DH3 here in Takai. Matt, it's been super cool having you, man. What's up next for you for the rest of the season? What are the big dreams and hopes?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a rad day shooting, couldn't ask for better weather. Next big one will be the SA Marathon Champs, and then all the usual suspects stage races at the end of the year: Bergenbush, Three Towers, Cape Pioneer Trek, and Wine to Wales.
Awesome, man. And if people want to follow your journey, because it certainly is an interesting one, how can they get in touch? Where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter, Instagram under Matt Beers 55. That's the main line I use. So yeah, say how's it.
For sure. It's time to go and eat some eggs and bacon. Well, I will. I don't know what he'll probably have.
Vegan, bro.
Vegan, bro. Nice one, folks. Thanks so much. And yeah, you got to know a little bit more about the legend in the making, Matt Beers. Adios. Till next time.